Hamilton broke the silence, and with just a few words, he reminded Ferrari and the world what's at stake this weekend. I'm relieved. It wasn't my fault. It was a massive issue in the SF25. But now, the past is behind him, and the next chapter begins on the streets of Montreal. There is one question echoing through the Ferrari garage. Can Hamilton and Adami rebuild the partnership that shone in Imola? Because in Imola, against the odds, they worked as one. From P12 on the grid to P4 at the flag, just 1.5 seconds from the podium. A masterclass in communication, strategy, and trust. Now, after the silence of Spain, will that same partnership rise again? Canada is the test. The race where Ferrari's internal dynamics will be exposed once more, and Hamilton knows he cannot win this war alone. The words were calm, measured. I didn't know if we had that problem. I thought it was my driving. It wasn't until after the TV interviews that I found out there was an issue. And then, the line that changed the narrative. The team don't really want us to talk about it. It could have been a moment to ignite further division, but Hamilton chose a different path. No anger, no accusations, instead, a message of readiness. Because while Spain exposed the cracks, Canada offers a new opportunity. And the key to that opportunity? His partnership with Riccardo Adami. In Imola, they proved what was possible. A weekend that started in disappointment, P12 on the grid. A race that became a statement, P4 at the flag. Less than 1.5 seconds from the podium. Every decision that day, the pit strategy, the tire calls, the radio clarity, showed a team in sync. Hamilton trusted Adami. Adami delivered for Hamilton. Now, just days before hitting the track in Montreal, that trust must be rebuilt. Because this weekend is about more than points. It's about leadership, about narrative, about unity, or fracture. Inside Ferrari, every eye is now on one dynamic, Hamilton and Adami. Because after Spain, after public silence turned into public truth, the relationship between driver and engineer faces a pivotal moment. And yet, there is reason for hope. In Imola, they showed what this pairing can achieve. Strategy executed with precision, tire management aligned, radio communication sharp. Hamilton trusted the calls, Adami responded without hesitation. It was not a perfect weekend, but it was a united one. One that sent a message. This is a partnership that can fight. Now, the question is, can that unity return? Because Ferrari's internal politics remain fragile. Leclerc remains the political center. Vasseur watches, calculating. The engineering ranks, under pressure after Spain's revelations. And Hamilton, he knows the stakes. He cannot drive this fight alone. He needs Adami, not just as an engineer but as an ally. An engineer who will call the race with clarity, who will not fear the hierarchy, who will prioritize performance over politics. Canada will reveal where this relationship truly stands. The signs were there. In Imola, when expectations were low, Hamilton and Adami delivered one of the season's most controlled performances. It began in adversity. P12 on the grid, a Ferrari SF25 that lacked one lap pace, a race that looked lost before it began. But then, the partnership took over. The opening laps, measured, tires protected, not burned. The first stop, time to perfection, gaining track position. The second stint, surgical. Every radio exchange clear, calm, precise. No panicked calls, no hesitation. Hamilton didn't question, he executed. Adami didn't waver, he guided. The result? P4 at the flag, just 1.5 seconds from the podium. More than the positions gained, it was the tone of that race that stood out. It was a race run in trust. Driver and engineer speaking the same language in a garage where such alignment is rare. And the paddock noticed. In the weeks that followed, many asked, was this the turning point? Had Hamilton and Adami found the formula for success inside Ferrari's political maze? Spain clouded that answer, but Canada offers the next chapter. Because if they can recapture the spirit of Imola, this partnership may yet become Ferrari's strongest weapon. For Hamilton, this is now a mental game. He knows the narrative that Ferrari's walls will protect. He knows where the silences come from and why. But he also knows this: Adami is the bridge. An engineer caught between two forces, the political machinery of Ferrari and the relentless clarity of Hamilton. In Imola, that bridge held. Under pressure, it carried both men forward. In Spain, it cracked, not by public failure, but by omission. Now, in Montreal, Hamilton must decide. Does he lean in? Does he trust again? Because this is the truth Hamilton understands better than anyone. You cannot fight Ferrari's internal war alone. you need allies. You need voices inside the system that will speak when others fall silent. And this weekend, every word on the radio will carry weight. Will Adami step forward, as he did in Imola, or will the ghosts of Spain linger over every call? For Hamilton, the answer will shape not just this race, but the future of his leadership inside Ferrari. The stage is set, and in Canada, every signal will matter. Hamilton knows it. Adami knows it. Because the evidence of Spain lingers, not on the leaderboard, but in the garage. A driver who carried the weight of a broken car, an engineer caught in the silence of a team protecting its image. And now, the eyes of the paddock are watching every pit call, every tire switch, every adjustment, and above all, every radio message. Because in Imola, those calls were weapons, precise, effective. In Spain, they became shadows. Now, the question is simple. Which version of this partnership will appear in Montreal? Ferrari's leadership knows the stakes. A clean race, with Hamilton fighting at the front, would reset the narrative. Another breakdown would deepen the cracks already visible. For Adami, this is more than a technical test. It is a test of trust. For Hamilton, it is a test of leadership. Because if this partnership can be rebuilt, Ferrari's internal war may yet find a new front, one where Hamilton gains more allies inside the system, and if not, then the civil war will escalate. For Ferrari, the choice is no longer tactical, it is cultural, because what unfolds this weekend in Montreal will resonate far beyond the checkered flag. Inside the garage, a simple truth hangs in the air. Hamilton has already shown that he will not stay silent. He exposed the gaps in trust, he exposed the failure to communicate. And now, the cameras are ready, the microphones are live. If Ferrari falls back into old patterns, hiding issues, protecting narratives, the consequences will be public, swift, and damaging. But if they choose a different path, if they back this partnership with clarity, with transparency, then Canada could mark the start of something new, a Hamilton-Adami axis strong enough to cut through Ferrari's internal fog. A signal to the paddock, and to the fans, that change is possible. Because Ferrari must decide, will they empower Hamilton to lead with Adami at his side, or will they once again let silence define their story? This is the real battle of Montreal, and when the lights go out, the world will be watching. So now, the question is yours to answer. Can Hamilton and Adami rebuild the trust that carried them in Imola? Will Ferrari give them the space and the support to fight together again? Or will old patterns return, dragging this partnership back into the shadows? In Montreal, the stakes are higher than ever, because this is no longer just about lap times, it is about leadership. It is about trust. It is about whether Ferrari is ready to be led by a driver who sees through the fog and refuses to be silenced. Hamilton is ready. Adami, the paddock will soon know. If you believe this partnership deserves a true chance, comment below, stand with Lewis, and if you want to follow every twist of this battle, subscribe now to F1 Prime News, because the next chapter of this story will be written in Canada, and it will be written on the radio.